Welcome to the Momentum Builder Podcast, hosted by Don Goettling, bringing you the top professionals, real stories, and proven success secrets that create unstoppable momentum. This is the show for housing professionals who want clarity, not clicks, where action, discipline, and consistency turn into real results. Top professionals, real momentum, real success. Let's get it started.
Well, welcome back to the Momentum Builder Podcast, where we bring you entrepreneurs, innovators, industry leaders who are helping businesses build momentum and stay ahead in a rapidly changing world. That's what we're all about here at Momentum Builder Podcast. And today's guest is a good friend of mine. He's actually going to be on our stage. He is a producing branch manager at LaSalle Mortgage and a nationally recognized mortgage loan originator. Brady Thomas is my boy. Over 16 years in his career, Brady has repeatedly ranked among the top 100 producers in the United States. That is impressive, to say the least. But Brady has built more than just a successful mortgage business, and that's why I'm stoked to have you on the show today. Brady, he's built a powerful online presence through education, content, email, social media, webinars, and digital marketing. So today we're going to talk about becoming more findable online. We all need that. Building what Brady calls the referral gravity. Kind of cool, Brady, I have to say. And how professionals can use education and digital marketing to create authority and generate business, because that's what we're all about, is creating business, but you have to do it the right way. And that's why I'm stoked to have Brady on the show today. Welcome to the Momentum Builder Podcast, my brother.
Right on. Thanks for having me, Don. I'm glad to be here.
Very cool. We've been very fortunate to have some conversations, and it's really cool what you're bringing out. So all of you on the show today or watching on YouTube, please pay attention, because this is really imperative to the market today. A lot of times you listen to the podcast, you're like, oh, he was successful back, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and they're still utilizing the same methods. But things change on a regular basis, we know, especially recently with AI and social media. It's completely changed. And what's nice is Brady has been working on creating something a little different that is making him basically referable for a reason, not just, hey, I'm going to throw out so much content and, shotgun effect, they call it, and hope that somebody likes what I'm doing. Brady is, what I really love that I've learned a lot from, is that Brady is not using the shotgun effect. He's doing a rifle effect, and he's letting his clients and his referral partners know exactly what his specialty is and why they need to call him. Not, maybe you'll call me, maybe you don't. No. When you have this situation, you need to call me because I'm the expert at. This is what I'm an expert at. So, Brady, I love to dive in to what made you decide to not just be, like you said, go the shotgun effect and be everything to everybody, because you have evidently learned that doesn't create the results you want. Am I right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's a great question. So a little bit of background for me. I used to sell commercial real estate. I did that for several years out of college, and I hated that job. Absolutely hated it. It was just a purely cold calling, knocking doors, basically interrupting people as a business model. And when I got out of that world, I decided the next job I went into, I wasn't going to take that same approach. And so, 15 years ago, 16 years ago, when I got into the mortgage space, I was trying to build a business that was done with intention, and I could try to position myself as a real mentor and value add partner for the real estate agents I was working with. Now, that took a long time to build that authority, to feel confident there, but it was always something that I wanted to do. About 7 or 8 years ago, I stumbled into what I call my piece of transactional clarity, the place where I feel like I provide the best service and I can raise my hand and signal to people that they are going to have a better result if they work with us. And that is what I call the Two Home Tango. It is the delicate dance of buying a home when you already own the home you live in. And I will talk about this all day long. I feel like clients that connect with us end up with better results. And it's not because the Two Home Tango is a loan program, product, or a strategy, but it's this idea that we have the tools and we will help you find the right approach to buy before you sell or to buy and rent. And so it took me a while to figure out what that was for me. But when I did have that, it unlocked something really powerful, which is I could go to agents or financial advisors or past clients and say, look, I know it's busy. I know it's crowded out there. But if you have somebody that's looking to buy a home before they sell, you have to call me. There's literally nobody else that should come to mind. And then I could say that because I really believed it. And then once I got those people who understood and were saying the Two Home Tango and talking about the Two Home Tango and mentioning it to their friends and family, and agents were talking about it in their office, then I knew I had them. And then that's where I could then go in and start to build deeper relationships with those referral partners because I'd already shown and proved. So my desire to not cold call as a business model has led me to where I am now. And it's turned into what I call this idea of referral gravity, which has a few different pillars in it. But it's not to say that this is any easier. It's not to say that it's a cheat code or a hack. It still takes work. You still have to be consistent. I'm still putting out content almost every single day. But it's what's sustainable for me. And so I didn't want to build a business based on cold calling because I knew I hated that type of work and I would not be able to make a career, 16-year career in this world if I was doing it that way. So for me, for the people out there that think that there has to be a better way to get chosen rather than to chase, this is the framework that I've come back with.
And that's super important. And I failed to start with what I usually like to start with. You gave great background, but tell us a little bit about, Brady, where you live, family, hobbies. I love for my listeners and watchers to know who, our guests and our friends of Momentum Builder. Tell us a little bit about that. And where
So
because I know where you live, of course.
yeah, I have kind of a unique situation. So I'm born and raised in Oakland, California. My business is in Oakland in the Bay Area of California, Northern California. LaSalle Mortgage is the company that I own with my business partner. And I'm dialed in here. My wife is a college professor though, and she has a full-time tenure track position at Tufts University in Boston, Massachusetts. So I actually spend 2/3 of my time in Massachusetts, even though my business is here, my clients are here. I'm not even licensed in Massachusetts, if you can believe that. I'm only licensed in California. And so I'm really focused on California. But when that happened, when she got this job 6 or 7 years ago now, it made me realize that I needed to kind of change how I operate because I had spent the first 8 or 9 years in the business doing the one-to-one coffee dates, lunches, open houses, first-time home buyer thing, all like one-to-one, very focused on building relationship, which is crucial. It has allowed me to leverage up to where I am now. But then when I started literally living out of a basement, working out of a basement in Massachusetts, I knew I needed some one-to-many strategies, some ways to stay top of mind. And so my journey with social media, with webinars, email marketing, long form video is only about 5 or 6 years old. And I'm still learning as I go, but it has been the most powerful lever for me in continuing to grow my business when the people that I work with are constantly shocked when I remind them that I don't sit in Oakland like I used to. They just say, well, you always seem like you're around, you always seem like you're top of mind. And that's this part of referral gravity, which is, building authority and, making sure that you are, the market trusts you, the market pays attention to you, the market repeats your ideas before it even needs your services. So it makes it easier to be in the room when you're spoken about before you're in the room. So that's kind of my thinking and how I ended up really diving into this part of the digital marketing space. I do have a 4-year-old who goes to school in Massachusetts.
Wow.
I'm a big sports fan. I do a lot of road cycling, so I ride bikes, and I love cognac. So,
And I love going, yeah, I'll keep that in mind, buddy.
yeah.
And I appreciate you going there. There's a reason I wanted to dive a little bit in that background because we spoke about that. And I think it's really refreshing because I've been in the industry for decades. I won't talk about how long. I don't want to age myself, but for a long time. And the challenge with commission jobs a lot of times, and we are on commission one way or another, and you've figured out how to build your referral network, but a lot of it is trading out, hours for dollars, and you got
Right.
to make sure that you're as efficient as possible because you can run out of hours. And I guarantee a lot of you on this call right now, guarantee on this, podcast is going, yeah, I run out of hours all the time. I'm burned out. I just grind, I grind and grind. But it's really what I'm learning by having these kind of conversations, especially with you, Brady, is that you figured out how to leverage your time better, like more to many, creating complete clarity of what you do and what your specialty is so that they know when and how to contact you. And you're the go-to resource. You've made it very clear that, hey, and you address one of the biggest challenges, at least in the California market. Not all markets are the same, but I'll clarify that in the California market, when the market does heat up, it is impossible to sell your home and find a home. It's a very challenging thing. It's the biggest
Right.
challenge, and a lot of people don't sell their homes because they can't find a home of choice. And I love that you're like, but I have solutions for that. I have ways for you to still get a home of choice and sell your home and have a means to get your next home. And good for you to figure out, like, this is a big challenge, and I'm going to figure out how to address it. And you don't have to, if you're on this, on the podcast listening to this, you don't have to create that, but you have to create something that uniquely identifies you and creates your own referral gravity. Am I right?
Yeah,
Wouldn't
absolutely.
you
And
agree?
so for me, I found that I really liked working with sellers, and I call them sellers, but they're buyers and sellers, but people that have
Ah,
already been
brilliant.
through the experience. You know what I mean? They either bought a home and had a really great experience with the mortgage lender they work with. So they recognize what true professional service looks like, and they're grateful for what we provide, or they had a crappy experience because they went with somebody who wasn't great, and they're just blown away by how we help them understand the process. And I believe in putting education first, so I always explain all
Mm.
of the different ways that we could do it. Some of them might involve us helping, some of them might not, and that kind of creates some stickiness. But the cool thing about when you focus on having transactional clarity is you kind of become the expert, right? So maybe you're not going to help people that are doing the two home tango. Maybe you're focusing on first time home buyers,
Mhm.
or maybe it's on helping people buy with condos, or seniors that want to age in place, or investors, or maybe, it could be any
Vets.
number of things, but get so good at it that you really do provide value so that even if the client doesn't go with you, they get off that phone call and they think, well, God damn, Brady and his team really added value. And I'm going to go this other route because of X, Y, and Z. But I want them to know I will feel better about losing the deal if I know I at least helped them understand the process a bit better, become more educated, become more fluent in what they're actually trying to accomplish. Because of those people will refer me later, even if they didn't use me. And I just, I have a pride in what we're putting out there. I want people to actually benefit from the conversation. I'm not just spinning them around to have them talk to me. So, I try to lead with value, but also make sure that it is truly an educational experience for
Mhm.
them, regardless of what the outcome ends up being.
Okay, so all that I love this, Brady, because this is. I hope you're listening out there because this is really key. One thing I'd love you to share, okay, because a lot of you out there are like, I don't know. I mean, how the heck are you in a different state across the entire nation for 2/3 of your time and still have a reputable, thriving business? You have had to create something special to where they feel comfortable enough that you don't have to hold their hand personally, but you probably do it, I would imagine, through communication and education. Am I right?
Yeah,
Because they
absolutely.
feel evidently comfortable enough for you to do over $100 million in production, which is huge in our industry, especially now. And you've created this network that is consistent for you, despite not having to be there in your office every day grinding away. You've created
Right.
systems in place. Can you share a little bit of how because you had to be, sometimes when life throws you curveballs, it depends on how you handle it. You kudos to
Right.
you going, hey, let me see what my wife's got this opportunity. I have to figure it out. But it probably was a blessing in disguise, I'm going to guess.
Oh, for sure. In 2020 and 2021, I started to resent this business. I started to resent my referral partners. I felt like I was getting treated just like a commodity that, hey, call Brady, see how quickly you can close and ask the rate. And we were doing a ton of business. We did, 300 million plus in those years. Like, it was crazy. And I was miserable. I didn't enjoy it. And then this whole thing happened with my wife getting this position, and it forced me to start to think about my business globally. And it's actually, that's when I delve in with Instagram, with email marketing, with webinars, because I wasn't physically in the marketplace. But the outcome of it is that I'm actually really enjoying it more. I'm doing things that are more in my zone of genius, or my self-actualized person in the stuff that I want to talk about and focus my energy on. And so that was super helpful for me. I am huge on a scripted process. Huge. My team is now myself plus 7 other people that are just my personal production. And from the moment a client is introduced to us, I have a certain way that I want things to go. So they get an email response if they come via email, with a quick video that introduces my team, so that they know Lindsay and Elizabeth are amazing. They walk on water. They've never missed a closing. They know everything that I know, and I think they cured cancer. Ari Lou is going to be the one to review your file. Here's why she might be reaching out to you, so that they kind of get ushered into this thing where it's not like, hey, why am I not talking to Brady every single step of the way? It's because I want to focus on the stuff that adds the most value. So I'm big on a scripted process. One of the 3 pillars that I talk about with referral gravity is this idea of operational leverage. I want to be able to absorb the opportunity without breaking the experience. So if somebody comes to us, and our referral partner comes to me, or we reach out to them and we say, hey, we want all of your business. There's no loan that's too big or too small. There's nobody who's too complicated. I need to be able to know that if I get 100 or 200 of those types of leads over the next month, that we can actually perform and that our process doesn't suffer. So that is where having a scripted process comes in, and just kind of constantly tweaking it and making it better. And the other piece of the referral gravity, pillars that we talk about, aside from operational leverage, we touched on both of them already. One is transactional clarity. So know exactly when you want people to call you, when you are the best fit, and make sure you get 90% of those calls, right? And I know people say, well, if they think I only work on buy before sell or Two Home Tango, then they won't call, because they know that you provide amazing service, you're super responsive, you're helpful, and you still are going to do a better job. But at least that's a good entry point to get people to recognize when they should reach out, and then you can build from there. And then the last piece of it is authority, which is basically you want people to say, I trust you and I pay attention to you even when I don't need you today. And the authority piece is like, when we talk about being more findable online, if you truly believe that clients get a better experience, they have more success, they are more likely to get the home they want when they work with you, then it's almost selfish to not make yourself more findable. Because if you are the best out there, and I know a lot of us know that about ourselves, that we're the best, then it's not self-aggrandizing. It's not selfish to make yourself more findable. And so, we do that by trying to be coherent, trying to provide a body of useful work so people know, your case studies, by using language they can repeat, like the Two Home Tango. Like that's really important. And then having kind of proof, the third-party verification. So the simplest way to do this, if you don't want to do social media, if you don't want to send an email newsletter,
All right, listen, everyone, this is important. Go ahead.
The simplest way to do this is just by getting reviews online. These are third-party verification of your worth and your experience. And they're really simple to ask for. So I'll give you guys the tea on what I do and how I solicit reviews. And I have, 1,000 5-star reviews between Google, Zillow, and Yelp. 1,000. Like, this is 10 years, 11 years of this strategy. The idea here with these reviews is that we are asking people to give us feedback on how their experience was with us. And then we can use that to show proof, right? And so I typically ask people to do 3 things when they leave a review. The first thing, let us know or let the world know what we helped you with. So if it was a Two Home Tango, if it was a first-time homebuyer thing, if we helped you buy a condo, what was the thing we helped you with? Number 2, where did we help you? Was it in Wichita, LA, New York, Oakland? And then number 3, what was your experience? Those 3 things are really simple. You can knock that out in 1 or 2 sentences. And it's like, buy our home before we sold. It was in Oakland, California. And then there's some adjective. It was amazing. It was spectacular. It was stressful, whatever it is, to put that in there. And then that's how you can kind of solicit and build authority online without necessarily having to build out the social media thing or in any other part of your platform.
Oh, I love it. And okay, this is a lot to unpack, Brady, because you've really thought it through. And this is something I want all of you to do. If you're listening to this, think through how your business is going to be. A lot of times we're very reactive. It's very apparent, Brady, that you have become proactive in your business. And you had to, because especially with being on separate coasts. And I hope you listen to what Brady's bringing up, because I think if you just sat down and really thought through your process, for one, is there a legitimate process? You have a process that you're very comfortable with and that you feel confident in. Therefore, you can project that confidence. Because I had the same thing. I told my piece, I have such a great, we never close late. You're going to get a consistent, you're going to be successful. You're going to be happy with it. We're going to make it exciting for you to purchase this home instead of stressful. I had a very set system, and my entire team had the same system in place, so that we knew that I can go out as the face of, like you're the face of LaSalle, I was the face of our mortgage division. I could comfortably say as in front of 200 real estate agents that, do you have challenges with closing your loans on time? That's one of the biggest problems you have, because that doesn't reflect well on you or the client, and someone always in pain if you're closing late. Is anyone in this room ever closed late with whatever my company and my team, unless it was a property issue? No hands go up.
Right.
Because we back in everything. We backed it all in, meaning when my team tried to say, oh, it's because of escrow, it's because of this, because of that. No, then you didn't do your job of backing it in and making sure they had what they need. So we backed everything in. So my point is when you create these systems in place that you're confident of, it's very easy to endorse, not sell. Now you're just endorsing. I love, and Jonathan's listening, he's with Turnkey Podcast, by the way, and I'm going to throw it out there. That clip I want of where Brady said that it's not selfish to provide value. You have to be out there. You're not selling if you're providing a value and a service that they need. And I love that, because a lot of times you think I'm being boastful. No, I want to help more people, because not everybody has that kind of experience. Unfortunately, there's a lot of poor experiences in our industry. I want to make sure that you or your friends or your family don't have a poor experience. So I can guarantee with our systems in place and my knowledge that you're going to have a wonderful experience. Am I on the right track with you, buddy?
Absolutely. Yeah, I love what you were saying about backing your way into it, but it's, the key here is, if you are suggesting to the marketplace that you're ready to take each and every person out there, you need to be able to perform. You need to be able to actually get the job done. And if your systems break, if referral gravity is this idea of having a really clear sense of who you want to work with because you help them and you provide great service, and then letting the marketplace know how you think, how you look at the world, then that last piece of being able to actually get the loans closed at the end of the day, if that isn't there, then you're going to just be back at square one, and then you're going to be, needing to fight that uphill battle. So it all does fit pretty well in there.
So it's really cool, Brady. You're going through your process. We talked about the importance of your process being so well thought out that you're confident in it. Therefore, of course, you can relay that to everybody about your confidence in closing on time, about your process and who does what, which is brilliant, by the way. I love that. So one of the challenges I know a lot of our listeners and watchers is where do I go when I'm doing my social media? Because it's very clumsy. I see a lot of people trying different this and that and stuff. So you built an incredible online presence. I know a lot of your business comes from that because I'm actually a follower and I get your info on a regular basis. What would you suggest for someone to start building their online presence, to build credibility, authority, and referrals
Yeah.
online? What would you suggest?
Yeah, I would suggest starting with one thing. So whether it's social media, whether it's email newsletters, whether it's doing webinars or in-person events, um, writing a book, doing a research project or creating a report. These are all different one-to-many strategies you can undertake. For me, I started with Instagram because I recognized that's where the real estate agents that I wanted to connect with were. And that's where a lot of my clients were. And so I've grown my Instagram following from like 1,000 people to 28, 29,000 now. But that's, 3 or 4 years of consistent posting. And so the thing you get with consistency, whatever mode you select, is you just become better at communicating. When you're trying to get people's
Oh.
attention on
Hmm.
Instagram or TikTok, they're in their, they're not their most focused when we're doom scrolling at 11:30 at night. And so to be able to grab somebody's attention and keep it for more than 3, 4, or 5 seconds is a skill. And you get better with that over time, cutting to the chase, cutting out the parts of it that are not meaningful to your message. So my first suggestion would be to select one that you want to be consistent with. I have come to love social media because it's free and that's where the most eyeballs are, but I recognize that's not for everyone. Um, I think there's two, if you're not going to focus on social media, if you don't want to do video, then there's two that are just amazing that I've had a ton of success with. The first is a regular email newsletter. And for interpreting the market, I have one that I send out to all of my realtor partners. It goes out every 2 weeks. It's called 3 Things in 3 Minutes. I give them
Ooh.
3 different updates. Usually one is around the mortgage or real estate world, changes, things they should keep in mind. One of the 3 things is around sales or marketing because I'm in that world and I like to share what I've learned. And then the last thing is just on interest rates. Where are the rates going? Where have they gone? What is expected? So 3 Things in 3 Minutes. They know it's going to be a short 3-minute video, goes out over email with a little bit of copy. It's helped me stay top of mind. I also do one monthly to my past clients that I call the Mortgage Pep Talk because my Instagram handle is Pep Talk Mortgage. And that's just about something they should know about homeownership or mortgage loans. Email is great. 50, 60, 70% are going to open and read it and you're building a relationship and you own it. You own the email. If Instagram changes their algorithm or they put everything behind a paywall or they throttle down your reach, you can be kind of stuck. It's harder to reach people, but email you own. So that's the first one. The second one are webinars. Again, remember, I
Hmm.
was spending so much of my time living on the other side of the country from where my business was. And so webinars were hugely, hugely important. They changed the relationship. Instead of approaching a real estate partner as a vendor or as a cold caller, you can approach them as an educator, right? Who is able to attract attention and disseminate information. And so I have consistently run webinars on different topics from how to win the buyer presentation to understanding the Two Home Tango, how to generate leads online, social media basics. It increases business activity because you are putting yourself not just as a vendor or even as an equal, you're putting yourself as like a mentor, as a teacher to give something back to these agents who you can't always refer deals to them in the same way they refer deals to you. And it's not that hard, right? It's not that hard to just start doing it and sharing it and asking people to come on and join because you really feel like you're adding value. So those are the kind of the 3 things: social media, email, and then webinars or in-person, education events.
Beautiful. And thank you for sharing that. What's really cool is when you get pros like Brady, he's not worried about you coming and taking his market share. He owns his market share. So he's willing to give out his pearls of wisdom, which I love, dude. Because people always ask, like when I used to go on stage and like, Don, why would you just share how you're successful? I'm like, because if I can help people, that's great. I'm not worried about them taking my market share. And, maybe 2 to 5% of them will maybe do something with it. So I'm hoping if you're listening that you really pay attention to what Brady's talking about and implement some of the strategy he has. Two things I've heard, Brady, that was really important that our listeners and watchers pay attention to is one, you've learned to do something we all have to do more than ever is decommoditize yourself. You separated yourself from the herd basically by educating, being an authority figure. And the other thing I heard is you're consistent. The number
Yeah.
one thing with top producers I'm hearing is they're consistent. So many of you, including me at times, you go, I'm going to do that. And you do it for 1 week or 2 weeks, meaning posting or sharing or educating. And then you get back into your old habits. And then you wonder why your business has not changed year in and year out. So consistency is key. Creating your own brand is key. Brady's done a great job with his hat. I always know where he is, who he is. When
Yeah.
I see this good-looking man in a hat, I'm like, oh, there's Brady. You've created your own brand and you've created an amazing business of authority and becoming findable and creating referral gravity. So I'm really proud of you, dude. And I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your pearls of wisdom of how people can become more visible, searchable, why they should contact you, clarity, systems. I mean, you've created you've created a business. That's what I say,
Yeah.
which is really
Yeah.
nice. A lot of people think I'm just a salesperson, but you are smart enough, and that's what Momentum Builder is all about, is helping our members, and we're calling them builders, by the way, not members. You're a builder. What are you building today? So it's important that you learn how to become a better builder. And listening to webinars like this, going to events and meeting people like a Brady and the speakers and learning. You're a constant learner. I'm wearing this shirt for a reason because last time I saw you was at the Forward event.
There you
And you were
go.
on stage even because you're implementing what is being taught. And that's why I'm like, I got to see you at Forward. It was an amazing event. Our Momentum Builder Live is a similar, like high energy, high value, high networking. And Brady, I'm just stoked that you're always leaning in and you're a giver. And that's what helps you create business and relationships. And I appreciate you being on our podcast today, buddy.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. And I love the fact that you're touching on this idea of consistency to close it out, because I think whatever we do, it's going to demand a sustained effort. I didn't want a cold call. Like there are people that are really good at cold calling, that chase based consistency, cold callings, repeated follow ups, one-to-one outreach. For me, that's something that I feel like resets to zero after each interaction. What I was trying to build is authority based consistency, like the content, the reviews, the relationships, the assets that build over time. But regardless of which path you decide to take, or if it's a combination of the two, the central point is that you have to do the work. And so just find something that's sustainable for you. And so I'm excited to join you guys in October to share a little bit more and to learn from everybody else who's there, because it's a heck of a lineup.
Oh, it is. It is. And it's going to be, like I said, now we're changing how events are being done because they have to. We're evolving to what's important in today's market. A lot of times we go to events and you see web or whatever, and they speak about stuff that worked maybe 10, 15, 20 years
Right.
ago even, but that's not relevant. Like the market has changed. And I'll leave you with this because a lot of you out there, I hear it often is, I'm waiting till the market gets back to normal. Stop. This is the new normal. Wouldn't you agree,
Right.
Brady? This is it.
Absolutely. This is it.
Make it work in this market. And that's what we're going to share on these podcasts. Thank you, Brady. Or at our events, our webinars, we're going to share what's working in the market today. And Brady, you're a perfect example. I want them to know how they can follow you and find out more and get to know Brady even more. How can they follow you?
Yeah, I think the best place is going to be on Instagram. I'm Pep Talk Mortgage. So PEP and then Talk, Pep Talk Mortgage. And then you can always connect with me there. That's the best place to reach out to me.
Yeah, it's a great way, and you'll get to see Brady walk the walk. I watch it all the time. I take hints. I'm like, oh, that's good stuff. I'm going to do that. I tried wearing a hat like that. It just didn't work for me as well as you. So I'll stick with my baseball caps.
There
Neil
you go.
Dingra does his reverse cap.
Yeah,
You create your own brand. But Brady, thank you for being a friend, first and foremost, being a wonderful professional and a giver in our industry, and being one of our contributors to helping all our listeners and watchers and our community become builders and gain
Thanks.
momentum. And you've done a great job of that. So thank you for being on the show today, buddy.
Thank you, man. Good to see you
All
guys.
right. All right. Always follow us at Momentum Builder. That is the name. You can follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Go online. We have momentumbuilder.com. We're creating the infrastructure for the industry to become better, and we want you part of it. So thank you for listening today, and we'll see you on the next show. Keep building momentum.
You've been listening to the Momentum Builder Podcast. For resources and next steps, check the show notes. If today's conversation brought you value, please rate and review the show. It helps more professionals like you to find it. Because this isn't about motivation for motivation's sake. It's about creating real momentum. We'll see you next time.